If you come from the Namek.
心じゃありません。
So how did it go?
I thought it went really well. The aliens, the youth, and I was here on behalf of AVAAZ members, and we were all saying the same thing, which is that Japan can break the deadlock if it puts forward a long-term finance target for the world of $200 billion a year by 2020. The decision apparently is being made right now in Japan. The cabinet ministers are meeting today or tomorrow, our time, today, Japan time, and they're going to make a decision. Either they're going to call for a long-term finance target or they won't, and either it'll be high enough, like $200 billion a year by 2020, or it'll be too low, and the decision they make could have a domino effect in either direction on what happens here in Copenhagen.
大規模な資金支援の提案というものを表明していただきたいと思います。よろしくお願いします。
Is this thing saving it automatically?
私は2050年に Welcome to our
ありがとうございます。我々は惑星 B からやってきた宇宙人です。我々の国惑星は気候変動によって破壊されました。我々は気候変動リーダーを探しています。我々はこのリーダーに日本がなれると聞いてやってきました。この行き詰まった交渉を打破するような強力な気候基金を提供してくれると日本は約束してくれますか。
日本は今までも気候変動に対応するために途上国が気候変動問題に対応できるように支援してきました。そしてこれからもっとその支援をスケールアップする、支援を拡大することを考えています。日本は気候変動に対応するため、この交渉に積極的なリーダーシップを期待したいと考えています。
I'm Ben Wickler with the global campaign network AVAAZ.org. We're happy to be friends with the aliens from Planet B. AVAAZ.org has 3.5 million members from every country in the world, and 20,000 are in Japan. And around the world, so far we know about 8, yeah. But it's possible we could grow intergalactically. So at present, our members here on Earth are concerned that the climate talks in Copenhagen are stalled, and the worry is that the financing isn't on the table. The long-term goal for climate finance isn't there that would allow developing countries to make the kinds of substantial commitments that we'll need to prevent catastrophic climate change. And in our membership in Japan and around the world, there's overwhelming support. Millions of people supporting a real deal here in Copenhagen that can lead to a strong enough outcome, a binding treaty that peaks global emissions by 2015 and leads eventually to a 350 parts per million stabilization. To do that, it'll take about $200 billion, a substantial amount of money, but an amount of money enough to provide both support for adaptation and for mitigation in developing countries. What's happening now with Europe, having already put a kind of a range for global finance in the long term on the table, it's still not being negotiated. And AVAAZ members around the world are now looking to Japan to take the fractured talks and bring them together in harmony to reach a deal that we need. For years, Japan was a problem at global climate talks. It wasn't willing to be ambitious enough, and Fossils the Day Awards and petitions around the world, people were concerned about Japan's position. But now with the Hatoyama government and the Hatoyama initiative, there's tremendous hope around the world that Japan can lead the way to bringing everyone together. And so right now, hundreds of members in Japan in the last few hours have written messages to the government. Our members around the world are all asking the same question, which is whether the government is ready to urge the other rich nations to include a long-term finance goal of $200 billion in the outcome from Copenhagen. Enough money to bring the developing countries on board, to join together in making the kinds of deep emission cuts we need to make the planet safe, not only for ourselves and for visitors from Planet B, but also for the youth of Japan and the youth of all nations.
Thank you very much for your explanation. As I already explained to my fellows from Japan and fellows from the Planet B, Japan has been already providing a lot of assistance to developing countries, and we, Hatema administration announced that we will scale up our assistance. We don't know if how much money is appropriate amount, but anyway, we would like to continue to support and continue to increase our assistance to developing countries in order that these countries can tackle this climate change, both in mitigation and adaptation. But I'd like to repeat what I said to my fellows from Japan, and that's how much we can contribute depends on not the government, but the will of the people. If the people of each country are convinced that yes, we should pay, or developed countries we should pay, but the government will do so. But if the people of the country, well, we don't like to pay, then the government cannot do of the will of the people. So what you should do is that you should go to convince your citizens, your people in each country. And also, Japan already has announced a very ambitious goal of reduction in the greenhouse gas. So I hope that the country, you also convince to the government or to the people, so that other countries, not only the developed countries, but also developing countries, major emission countries as well, to do best efforts to mitigate, to reduce greenhouse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.